Namaste and welcome to this special bonus episode of Ahmedabad Real Estate Review. We're focusing on something very specific today. If you're an NRI, and especially if you have roots in Gujarat,
Right.
then this is really the episode for you.
Absolutely.
We're talking about the Ahmedabad and the greater Gujarat property market.
Yeah.
And we know that, a lot of our listeners are NRIs and they want to keep a finger on the pulse of what's happening back home, and things are changing so fast.
They are. It's a really dynamic time right now. We're seeing big infrastructure projects and new avenues for investment popping up, like these alternative investment funds.
It really feels like things are changing and changing quickly.
Yeah, I think the question that's on a lot of people's minds is now the right time to invest in Ahmedabad real estate?
Yeah, and with all this development happening, is it the right time for NRIs to get in on the action?
Yeah.
That's a big question.
It is, and that's really what we wanted to look at today. We've been looking at the Ahmedabad real estate market a lot lately,
right?
And especially the emergence of these funds like Sakar Realty Fund AIF.
Yeah.
We want to kind of break that down.
Yeah, give people the information so they can make their own decisions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're not trying to tell anyone what to do, but we just want to sort of lay out what's happening.
Give people the information and tools to make their own decisions.
Exactly.
Just quickly before we jump in.
Yes.
Just want to remind everyone that all the information we're discussing today is for educational purposes.
Absolutely.
Only. So, please consult with a qualified financial advisor.
Yes.
Before making any investment decisions.
For sure.
Okay, so let's sort of paint a picture here.
Okay.
Of what's happening in Ahmedabad right now.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, Ahmedabad might still be, the Manchester of the East.
Right.
The textile hub.
Yeah.
But it's really transformed.
It has, yeah.
In recent years.
Yeah. It become a real hub for IT.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much commercial activity there now and a real strong industrial base.
I like the way you put it there. The textile legacy.
Yeah.
Is now interwoven with threads of technology.
Exactly. Yeah. You see it all over.
Yeah.
Just look at Gifty City.
Yeah. Gifty City is amazing.
It is. It's really a sign of Gujarat's ambition on the world stage.
Absolutely. And the Sabarmati riverfront as well.
Oh, yeah.
Complete revitalization of that whole area.
It's beautiful down there now. And of course, that's boosted property values all around the riverfront.
Now, what about the metro?
The metro.
Yeah.
It's connecting the city like never before.
Absolutely. And all these things are really contributing to real estate growth.
Yeah. I mean, these are all big catalysts, They
Yeah.
really drive things forward.
And I think for a lot of our NRI listeners, it's not just about the financial gains.
Right.
It's also about that connection to home.
It is. Yeah. There's a lot of people who want to, they want to invest back in Gujarat. And, there's that cultural connection.
Yeah. And there's a sense of stability as well.
Absolutely. And when you compare real estate to something like the stock market,
right?
It just feels so much more stable.
It feels more real.
Yeah, it's a tangible asset.
Yeah.
And the stock market can be so unpredictable.
Up and down, up and down.
Yeah, exactly.
But with real estate,
it's more of a long-term game.
It's a long-term investment, and
yeah.
The potential for rental income is great.
Exactly. Yeah. That's something a lot of people are looking at these days.
So let's get into some of the big developments happening.
Okay.
That are really driving the Ahmedabad real estate market.
Yeah.
First off, the Gujarat metro expansion.
Yeah.
It's more than just a convenient way to get around.
It is. Yeah. We've seen this in other big cities in India.
Right.
Like Delhi, Mumbai, Bengaluru.
When the metro comes in, property values go up.
Exactly. Yeah. It just makes everything so much more accessible.
Right. Businesses love it. Residents love it.
Yeah.
And that demand just pushes prices up.
It's a tried and tested formula.
Yeah. It seems to work everywhere.
And then we have Gift City.
Oh, yeah. Gift City.
Yeah, it sounds so futuristic.
It does. It really does. And it is in a lot of ways.
So what's the appeal for real estate investors looking at Gift City?
Well, it's being developed as a global financial hub.
Right.
So you're going to have all these multinational corporations, financial institutions all setting up shop there.
And they need space.
They do. They need office space. They need places for their employees to live.
Right.
So you're creating this whole ecosystem of demand for real estate.
It's a city within a city almost.
Yeah.
It's quite incredible.
We also hear about these smart city initiatives. Can you explain what that means for someone who's thinking about investing in Ahmedabad?
Sure. So smart city initiatives are all about the government trying to improve the city.
Okay.
So they're upgrading infrastructure, improving things like utilities, waste management, security, even digital connectivity.
So it's about quality of life.
It is. It's about making the city more livable and attractive.
Yeah.
And that, of course, has a knock-on effect on property values.
People want to live in a smart city.
They do. They want to live in a place that's modern and efficient.
Right.
And that drives up demand for property.
Okay, let's talk about something a little bit newer.
Okay.
These alternative investment funds, or AIFs.
Yes.
We mentioned Sakar Realty Fund I.
Right.
What are these funds, and why should our NRI listeners be paying attention?
So this is something that's really interesting for people who are investing from overseas.
Okay.
An AIF is basically a professionally managed investment fund.
Yeah.
And it pools money from lots of different investors to invest in certain types of assets.
Right.
And in this case, it's real estate.
Okay.
So for an NRI who maybe doesn't have the time or the expertise to manage their own properties,
Right.
this is a really good option.
So it's almost like having a team of local experts,
Yeah, exactly.
taking care of things for you.
That's the idea.
You're not having to do everything yourself.
Exactly. They have the knowledge of the local market. They know how to find the good projects.
Right.
And they can handle all the complicated stuff.
And hopefully get you a better return.
That's the goal.
Yeah. Okay.
So it takes a lot of the stress out of it for you.
Now we have to talk about the Mumbai-Ahmedabad bullet train project.
Oh, yes.
I mean, this is a game changer.
It is. It really is.
For connectivity.
Imagine you can get from Mumbai to Ahmedabad in just a couple of hours.
I mean, that's incredible.
It is. And it means that those two cities are going to be much more closely linked.
Right.
It's going to create a sort of mega economic zone.
And what does that mean for the real estate market?
Well, it means that demand for property in both cities is going to go up.
Yeah.
But it also means that places along the corridor between the two cities are going to become much more attractive.
Yeah. Because they're suddenly accessible.
Exactly.
It's like the map is shrinking.
It is. Yeah, it's really exciting.
And finally, let's touch on the Gujarat government's push for these global capability centers, or GCCs.
Yes.
What's the strategy there, and how does it tie into real estate?
So the government is really trying to attract multinational corporations to set up these big operation centers in Gujarat.
Right.
And these GCCs, they bring in a lot of skilled professionals. And of course, those professionals need somewhere to live.
Right. They need houses. They need apartments.
They do. And they need office space as well.
So the more GCCs that come in,
the more demand there is for real estate.
It all sounds very positive.
It is. It's a really exciting time to be looking at real estate in Ahmedabad.
Absolutely. Now, when we talk about investing, especially from overseas, trust and reliability are so important.
Oh, absolutely.
And one name that comes up a lot
in
the Gujarat real estate sector is the Bakeri Group.
Yeah, they've got a really good reputation.
What makes them stand out?
Well, they've been around for a long time.
Okay.
And they have this really strong commitment to ethical practices.
Right.
Even before RERA came in, they were known for being transparent and reliable.
And that's important for investors.
Oh, it's crucial.
Right.
Especially if you're investing from overseas.
You want to know that your money is in safe hands.
Exactly. You need to be able to trust the people you're working with.
Now, I heard a story about Mr. Pavan Bakeri.
Oh, yeah.
At a recent property launch.
Yes. He took a very different approach.
He did, yeah.
Instead of, the usual hard sell, he just focused on the quality of the project.
Right. And the company's track record.
Exactly. He was very straightforward and honest.
And I think that resonates with a lot of investors.
It does. People appreciate that honesty.
Yeah, they want to see that integrity.
Absolutely.
So let's go back to the metro expansion for a moment.
Okay.
We talked about the general impact on property values. But what are the specific outcomes that we can expect for investors?
Well, based on what we've seen in other cities, we can expect to see significant appreciation in property values.
Right.
Especially in areas that are close to metro stations.
Right. It's all about accessibility.
It is, yeah.
And this applies to both residential and commercial properties.
Absolutely.
So that's great news for anyone looking to invest in Ahmedabad.
It is. And for NRIs who are thinking about rental income, properties near metro stations are always in high demand.
So you've got a built-in tenant pool.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk more about these structured investment opportunities.
Okay.
And Sakar Realty Fund I.
Yes.
You mentioned that it offers a professionally managed approach.
It does.
Can you elaborate on the benefits for NRIs?
Sure. So for an NRI who might not have the time or the local knowledge to manage their own investments, this fund is a great option.
Okay.
Because it's all taken care of for you.
So it's hassle-free.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't have to worry about finding the right properties,
Right.
dealing with tenants, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's all done for you.
So why would Sakar Fund be a good option for our listeners?
Well, they're focused on investing in prime locations
Okay.
in Gujarat and other high-growth areas.
Right.
So they're looking for places where there's going to be strong capital appreciation.
And they have the expertise to identify those areas.
They do, yeah. They've got a team of experienced professionals who know the market inside and out.
And it's not just Ahmedabad, is it?
No, they have a wider investment mandate.
Okay.
So they're looking at other cities as well,
Right.
like Bengaluru, Pune, Chennai, Mumbai, Hyderabad, the NCR.
So they're really spreading the risk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Diversification is key.
So who's actually managing these investments?
The fund is managed by a company called Lumos.
Okay. And what's their background?
They're an experienced fund management firm
Okay.
with a really good track record in real estate.
So they know what they're doing.
They do. Yeah, they've got a proven track record of success.
And just to reiterate those geographical areas that they're investing in, those are all major economic hubs.
They are. Yeah.
You know, there's a reason why they're choosing those places.
Absolutely. They're looking for areas with strong economic fundamentals
Right.
and high growth potential.
It's interesting how Ahmedabad's growth it seems to be mirroring global trends.
It is. Yeah. If you look at cities like Singapore or Dubai or even places in the UK, you see a similar pattern.
What do you mean?
They invest heavily in infrastructure, like public transport, and then they create these financial instruments to attract investment.
So Ahmedabad's on the right track.
I think so, yeah.
With the metro and these AIFs.
Yeah, they're creating a really attractive environment for investors.
So for our NRI listeners tuning in, what are the key takeaways?
Well, I think the main thing is that the Ahmedabad real estate market is booming.
Right.
There are lots of opportunities there.
Driven by infrastructure development and government policies.
Exactly. And these AIFs are a great way to get involved.
Especially for NRIs.
Especially for NRIs.
And we've got these reputable developers like Bakeri Group.
Yeah, they give you that peace of mind.
That your investment is in safe hands.
Exactly.
And specifically for Sakar Realty Fund I.
Yeah, if you're looking for a professionally managed investment, that's definitely one to consider.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, if you found this episode useful, and you want to stay up to date on the Ahmedabad property market, be sure to subscribe to our channel.
Absolutely. And if you want to learn more about Sakar Realty Fund, there's a link in the episode description below.
Perfect.
So you can click on that and get all the details.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
We hope this has given you some food for thought as you consider your own connection to Gujarat and your investment goals.
Absolutely.
And just a final reminder. The information we've discussed today is for educational purposes only. Please consult with a financial advisor before making any decisions.
Good advice.